Hello everyone, this will be the last video on the if function. This was 17-18 spring final exam 14 mark question that we're going to solve it together. Unless I'm taking this one to Excel. The question says that use if function to answer the following questions. Or the one question, I don't know why I asked following questions, it's just following question. The question is what to find total cost. I could just write it if function to find total cost here. Now total cost, it has an equation. It will cost per meter square multiplied by area. If you want to calculate total cost, you need cost per meter square times area. Now cost area, it's given, it will be an input here. Those are the inputs, those three are the inputs, and you're gonna find total cost. So area is given. Which one is the purpose of finding here? The cost per meter square. So use the following information to calculate the total cost. You have to use this one. Why? Because cost per meter square is here. So if I want to find total cost, I need cost per meter square multiplied by the area. Area, I have it here. I need to calculate cost per meter square. And cost per meter square, I gave a table here. We're gonna use this one to understand how does it work. Now, this is kind of a rough calculation of cost for a building. Now you may say that how people calculate cost like this. But this is not, the values are not accurate values, by the way. Those are not accurate values. But when you go out in some countries, they say, okay, the 1 meter square or 1 meter square of this building cost $1,000. Well, it is something roughly, and something that people, like, because those worked a lot within the industry, construction and contracting, they know residential buildings, normal residential buildings, they understand if it is not a complex building. They understand, for example, if it is steel structure or concrete, a meter square roughly how much it cost. But if the story increases, they know it. For example, they say, okay, 2 stories like this became 10 story will be like this. I'm not arguing how this is work, how they know it. It's basically came from their experience, whatever they got from the year of working, 10 years, 15 years, or some they have 40 years working with this. They understand a way that roughly they estimate. Let's say I have a condition, I have a table here that can be used to calculate the total cost of a building according to the location and the area, the story we have it there. Why? Because according to the table I have it here, it says that if the area is smaller than 400 meters square, for the different location I have different values. If the area is bigger than 400, for the different city, Lefkosha, Girna and Magosa, we have different values. Well, before that, it dividing to 2, it says that concrete building smaller than 10 stories or smaller, less or equal to 10 stories, those are the values. If the concrete building is bigger than 10 stories, what we have to do? It says that for each extra story, add $20 to the cost. So this is the main. Let's say that we have this is Lefkosha, 550. So it's gonna come here, Lefkosha. This will be 1,200. But we have 15 stories, so we have 5 extra story. Why? Because if it's 10 or less, I'm gonna choose 1,200. If it is 10 or less, it will be 1,200. But if it is more than 10, for each story, I will add $20 more. So this is Lefkosha, 550, 15 story. So the area is bigger than 400 is gonna come here. It's left kosher. I'm gonna take 1200. This is the base. But since it's 15 story, so for each extra story, I'll add $20. So 5 times 20 will be 100. 100 plus 1200, the cost will be 1300. I explained this one for the student in the exam, and I gave an example. For example, cost for 350 meters square, 15-story building in Girna will be 2000. This 2000 came from where? 350 smaller than 400. It's Girna. 2000 plus 5, which is extra stories, times $20. Will be $100 more, will be $2,100 per meter square. So we have a lot of things to check here. You have to find a way to manage this for yourself. Now, I'm gonna solve this question in two ways again. One, I will divide the if functions. It will be easier. Then I will do it as combined for those to see how we can combine them together. Now let's do with a separated if functions. Now you realize that I can separate this one easily. I can separate this one. Maybe I can separate some part, or I can separate both of them. Easy for me is to separate those two parts. Buildings bigger than 10 story or smaller than 10 or greater than 10 stories. So let's come here. I'm gonna just move this one away. So let's say we're gonna go to developer. I forgot this one. We're gonna click on record macro. You're gonna write your name, just name, no spacing. If you write like this, it will not accept it. It's gonna give you a warning. Why? Because the spacing is not acceptable. It's not acceptable. Just write your name. If you wanna write your surname, just write it directly together. Write your surname as again here. It's okay, but do not put a space. Press OK. Start recording. Then I'm gonna continue the work that I have it here. Now, let's just give some space here. I'm gonna move this one a bit away there. Now, I'm gonna check some if functions. Let's say I'll call this one extra story. Do I have extra story? I can say extra story will what? If this value is greater than 10, I have extra story, yes, because what does it mean? For me, I want to check, do I have any extra stories? The extra story means that if it's 11, I have one extra story, and I know that one extra story will cost me $20 more. So if I have 5 extra stories or 10 extra stories, I know that that's going to cost me more. So I'll say if this value is greater than 10, yes, I have extra story. So how many extra story I have it? This one minus 10. What if it is not? I'll say 0. Look, a simple if function. I'll say if this is greater than 10, it means that I have extra story. So I'm going to calculate the extra story. The value minus 10 will be 15 minus 10 will be 5 extra story, yes? For the second one, the 7 is greater than 10. No, it's going to go for 0. Tell me 0 extra story. Why? Because you don't have extra story there. Like this is 10, no extra story. If I make this one 20, yeah, I have 10 extra stories. I could directly calculate the extra cost, but I'm only step by step. Let me zoom a bit this one to make it. I can now change this one to extra cost. Extra cost will be what? Will be the story, extra story times $20. Why? Because we said each extra story, for each extra story, add $20 to the cost. So here I have $100 for the others. I have 0. I could directly add this one inside here, yes. Why? Because I could put this one a parenthesis here. Also directly the cost, the extra story times $20. no need for this one here. So this is no needed. I could simply just make it 1. So I can, instead of extra story, I could say extra cost. Or you could make it one more step. It's up to you. Up to you. Sometimes things can be done. This is faster. Why? Because I just put the parenthesis and multiplied by $20. So if I have, for example, if this is 11 story, that will be, I'm sorry, I didn't use the auto-filling. Yes. Now, 11 story, $20. I have 100-story building. So 100-story building. The extra is going to be that much more extra cost per meter square. Why? Because when the buildings increases, there will be a crane, there will be a lot of things that it cost a lot. So let's say this is 8. In 8, I have 0 extra cost. Now, I'm going to say that this is a cost per meter square from the table that I'm taking it. Now, by the way, this is extra cost. It's still per meter square. It's still per meter square. Why? Because at the end, we multiply them by area. That's going to be the total cost. Now, for the cost per meter square, I can separate again. This one I can make one if. I can make this one one if. Might be easier. I mean, I can solve this part alone and this part alone. Still will make it easier. Let's do it here. If the area is smaller than 400. So I'm going to say that equal if the area is smaller, equal is included, is equal, smaller equal to 400. Make it like this so I can see what I'm doing. So if the area is smaller equal to 400, then what I'm checking, now I need the area to be smaller than 400. Well, let me just make it much easier. I'll make it and. I'll say and this area smaller than 400 and is left kosher. This is if it is equal to left kosher. Then I'm closing the and. Why? Because I'm going to put those two with an and. If it is less than equal to 400 and it's left kosher, the value will be 1000. The value will be 1000. Now, I have 1000, 2000, 1500, 1200, 2500, 1750. So I have a lot of cases there. But I'm going to separate them to be easy for me. Now this is the first road. It's the first road. I can have the second road. I can have the third road similar. Now, since it is the same, I'm just going to copy this one. Copy this one. Sorry, with the if. With the if. This time maybe the second road I have it. The second road is what? Maybe it's still this one, but Girna will be 2000, Magosa will be 1500. So I'm gonna go. This time it's still, sorry, there's missing separator here. So this time it's still the area is less than 400. This will be Girna. Now this will be 2000. I'm gonna put another if function for by the way, I could do two of them together, but let me just separate them to see. This is still, I can make this one Magosa. And for Magosa will be 1500. Now if none of them, look, why those all of them, the area smaller than 400. If the area is not smaller than 400, I want it to be 0 here. Why? Because I don't want to have this, the other ifs. I want to separate those are from here. So if the area is smaller than 0, sorry, greater than 400, then I'll put a 0 there. Now I'm going to close the if functions. Now let's do it like this. Now this is okay. Yes, the value will be 2000. For this one the value will be 1500. Why? Because both of them are smaller than 400. For the first one, because the area is greater than 400, it gives me 0. Why? Because I wanna have another one. This time it will be for the bigger than 400. I will say that if this one is equal to 0. Why? Because I know that the 0 here means that the area is greater than 400. I don't need to check again this one. I know the result of this one with 0, it will be like this. I will say if, so I'm gonna start if this one is equal to left quotient, I'm having 1200. If this one, look, I can type faster. If this one is equal to Girna, I will be having 2500. If not, I will be having 1750. Now let's see if I haven't done any mistake to double check. Now I'll say if the value of this one is 0, then come inside here. What do I have? Left quotient. I have something missing. If left quotient will be this, if Girna will be this, I have to put for Magosa as well as a if function. If this one is Magosa, let's see, this is if it's left quotient, it's come here. If not, it's gonna come inside here. And this is if it's Girna, will be this. There's something, we have it here. Okay, this was missing here, 2500. Then if we're gonna go for Magosa, if this is equal to Magosa, we will be having 1750. Now if none of them, I'm gonna say 0 again. So I'm closing the parenthesis for the ifs and hit enter. Now only the one that will be 0, the value will be found. The other one, right, where is it? Okay, this is logic, value if true. We can put 0 for the last part as well, so the value false, that will be 0 as well. I'll just keep it here for the first one as well, 0, so that false is okay as well, but let's say I'm making it 0. Now if I change this one to 700, you realize this will be 0. Why? Because it's going to be found in the second. So this one This one covers the first part, this one covers the second part. Now you can combine them together. This is the second one. I'm going to combine all of them together. Then the final, or the result, or the answer, which is the last part of the, will be what? Will be equal to summation of those values. Yes. Why? Because 1200, it's the cost. I have extra cost 100, then 0 here. So summation of them multiplied by the area, that's going to be the total cost I have it there. This is the cost, and I believe within here I have this one. Okay, I believe there's something, I don't know why I use this quotation marks. Numbers, no need for quotation marks. Why? Because of the values to be taken as number. Here there is nothing, we have it. Here as well I'm gonna remove the, I don't know why I wrote the quotation marks. Most probably because when I was typing the Girna or the text, I even use the quotation mark for numbers. Remember, numbers no need for quotation mark, so that it will not have any. Yes. Because if it's quotation mark, it will be taken as text, so that's why I got 0 there. Now this is with summation of those. So if you change anything, let's say this is 17 stories, I have extra, check it manually. Remember, when you do things, you have to check it manually to see if it is working the way that we want it. Now let's say Girna, Magosa 700, let's say make this one to be 19. Now Magosa 700, so 700 is here, Magosa here, the cost per meter square for, if it is less than 10 story, will be 1750, which is here. Do I have extra story? Yes, 19. I have 9 extra story. 9 times 20, $180. The total summation of those two will be the total cost per meter square multiplied by the area. It's going to give me this value. Or sometime you can add another one, total cost per meter square, then multiplied by area. So you realize that it's working perfectly for all the conditions. I have it here. Now instead of these things, I could directly find the results. Let me just copy this one. Let's see, how can I put everything within the if function directly there? Now it will be long. Why? Because I have two sides. Now I can manage the stories in the beginning. Look, I will say if for the first case I'm covering if this one is smaller equal to 10. Now I'm covering this part here, if it is smaller, or I believe extra cost is the best way to be like this. I can separate. Combining those two can be easy. Combining this one, all of them together, will be a bit longer. So this part here can be still alone, but let's say we combine everything together. This is when it's smaller than 10, I'm in this side here. Now from there I have two. When the area is smaller than 400, when the area is bigger than 400. Now I can manage according to Lefkosia as in. If I say, okay, if it's Lefkosia, area smaller than this one, Lefkosia area bigger than this one. I can do it in two ways, whether by areas cities, or cities, then the area. Let's say I'm going for the area. Now, if, this is first if, now I'm gonna say another if. Why? Because we will assume that we are here. Now if the area is smaller equal to 400. Now I'm inside here, then I'm gonna go 3 ifs or 2 ifs to solve this problem here. Another if. So step by step, we are here, we came to this if, inside here, left kosher, another if this one equal to left kosher, then the result will be 1000. If it is not left kosher, maybe it's girna, so I'm going to check another if this time the value which is for the location, please do not go for the second or the third one. Why? Because in the writing function is for this corresponding, for the one that it's on the same level. I see student clicking here. That's why I'm not going to give anything in the exam. I'm not going to give data. I'll just give you one line so you're not going to make this mistake. Because I've seen if I give them table, they're going to click here. This equation is for this line here. So I'm still saying if you imagine that there is nothing inside here. So if L9 is the location. Maybe the location it's this time is equal, written, someone write Girna there. Girna. If it's Girna, the value will be 2000. Well, if it is not left kosher, not Girna, the area is smaller than 400, will be Magosa, so the value will be 1500. I'm going to close one if, closing the other if. So where I'm right now, I'm inside the, if this is less than 400, it's going to come inside here. Left kosher, Girna, this one. What if it is not less than 400? It means that it's going to be more bigger than 400. It's going to go for value of false here. Value false. The value false will be what? Again, for the three cities. So I'm going to copy this one, which I was covering. This is two ifs, covering left kosher, Girna, and the else will be Magosa. I'm going to bring it here again. For left kosher this time will be 1200. Girna will be 2500. Then Magosa will be 1750. Now if I check if it is less than or smaller equal to 400, come inside this if. Inside here, it's a left kosher 1000, Girna 2000, else 1500. The else basically I'm assuming to be Magosa. Remember, if someone write Lefka, it will still be 1500 because Excel does not understand Lefka. It will take it as the else. So if you don't want other cities to be written there, you have to put another if here for Magosa. Else you'll say the city is not defined. What if this is not smaller than equal to 400, means that is greater than 400? I still have three cities. So again it goes to the value false. The value false again, it has, if it is left kosher, this is the value. If not, it might be Girna. If it is Girna, this will be the value. If not, this will be the value. Then it's time to close, because this is the false value for the if. It's time to close that if. I still am inside another if. Yes, why? Because I'm saying if this is smaller than 10, this is the result. But what if it's not smaller than 10? It's not smaller than 10. It is the same thing, yes, the same thing, but we're gonna add extra cost to them. So I can copy all of this part, but for the each value I have it here, I will be adding the story minus 10 times 20. Why? Because each of those values, if it is not less than 10, which means greater than 10, those value will be added by what? 20 times the extra story. So I'm gonna copy all of this one, all of this, we'll paste it, because this is the false value. Why? Because if this is not true, if the story not less than 10, I mean it's bigger than 10, what I have to do, we still taking those numbers, yes, but we add them to the extra cost. The extra cost will be what? Will be the difference, I mean the story minus 10 times 20. So the same thing, I'm just simply going for the values. This 1000 will be 1000 plus story minus 10, so I'm going to put in a parenthesis, times 20. So I'm going to copy this one and add it to the rest of the values. Girna, the same way. For the Magosa will be the same thing. Even if the area is greater than 400, still be for Lefkosha the same thing. For Girna the same thing. What I'm adding extra cost to all of the values if the story is not less than 10. Now it's time to close the first if, and no if is active. And I'm getting, by the way, I forgot something. The result of these functions will be multiplied by area. By the way, this is maybe new for you. I could look, what did I do? From here till here, it is the cost per meter square. I put it between a parenthesis and multiplied by the area. If you don't like this way, just write total cost per meter square, then make another. Since I know what I'm doing, that's why I can simply get the same result the way that I'm getting it there. Like, okay, let me just make this one. Let's say I'll make this one total cost per meter square. Then let's say cost per meter square here. The cost per meter square. I'll make this one total cost. Total cost. To separate them, total cost. Now let me remove this one here, so you will not mix what I'm doing here. Now this is the cost per meter square, and is equal to this one multiplied by the area, and it's going to give me the result. Now look at here, this plus this one, so if I add summation of those, sorry, just sum, not sum if, summation of those, I'm getting the same results as here. Then I could say, instead of this sum, say this one multiplied by the area. It's the same, but I mean that we could always make things fast or like longer to be on the safe side. Like here, the total cost is a bit confusing here, but here you made them much simpler. And if for the extra cost, imagine this extra cost here, I could make this one much simpler. So maybe this one, it's not easy. Look at this, shorter. They are short, but here all of them together will be a bit longer. Another solution that we can do, I mean that it is simply for the extra cost, I can make, so here I will remove the 10 stories. I'm not making just as based on 10 stories, and I'm gonna remove the extra cost, which is start from, where is it, right here. I made a mistake before that. Let's see, this is the okay, look, the value false. From here I'm deleting everything, and I'm gonna remove this one 10 story here. Now this is, in here I don't care about the story. In here I don't care about the story. This is only the area and the location. So I'm gonna add extra cost here, extra cost, or the extra cost here. This will be easy for me to do it like this. The extra cost, so I have extra cost here, then I can say that the cost, or the total cost per meter squared, or the last one, will be the summation of those two. So I can say this plus this. Look, by using a simple if here, then I can say this one multiplied by the result in order to get exactly similar answers there. Now look, this if, how much make it easier for me. Look, this is, and imagine here. So remember, sometimes separating if can make a lot, solution make it a lot easier. It can make the solution a lot easier. Imagine this is a best solution that you can get. This is, well, it's still okay, but you're making it still longer. Even some separation does not mean make it shorter, but the separation, which is a good separation, it make it much easier for me. This extra cost here, with this function here, with less than 400 here, if not, it's here, and it's going to be extra cost. I'm getting the total cost per meter square multiplied by the area, getting the total cost for the building there. I hope you have an idea. Those are the extreme cases. Imagine you when you want to do things, you have to know in a full extent in order to do when you have projects. So unfortunately I could not give project. I gave it some semester when I was reading. Some student, they were taking in the final last year for them. I gave them Excel as a project for designing something like beam, column, something in civil engineering. When it comes to design, when you're preparing a sheet for analysis and design, you have a lot of cases, a lot of if function. If it is like this, come here. If not, go there. So those calculation, if it's the base or the foundation of the calculation we have within civil engineering, well, everything is an if. You're assuming something and then if it is like this, you do like that. So remember, if function, if you want to use Excel in your life for calculation, which I recommend it to be used. Why? Because sometimes you're doing calculation that keep repeating. It's better to create an Excel file for it that you can always use it whenever you need it. You don't need to always do the same calculation over and over. You can prepare once an Excel sheet, and whenever you change the data, you can just simply calculate it or design. You can prepare a sheet for designing beam. For those who understand what I'm talking about, when you study design of beam, when it comes to the time that you will study these things, you can the procedure there, it is something clear. It has a lot of ways to go, a lot of if functions can be there, but if you do it once, then you can use that Excel sheet for yourself always. Just come, put the values there, you'll get the result. So how much you can do that when it depends on your understanding with Excel. then understanding the topic, remember you must understand the topic, then you'll be able to use those if functions there. This will be the end for this semester. Hope that I would be able to give you the things that I know. I hope that I gave extra examples or spent time to explain the things. I know it's not easy. Hopefully you learn the things to be able to use it for later. Now this course, it is not prerequisite to any other courses, but knowing Excel is something good for yourself. Now you're gonna use Excel in the 4th year, you're gonna use it in the 3rd year to draw graph. So remember, Excel must be with you. Use it. Do not, because some students, they don't use it, and normally they forget the things that they learn. So try to use it for yourself to have always. Believe me, if you use it with the other courses, when you're having drawing, calculation, just try to do it in Excel. When we have extra time, free time, try to use it so that you will always have an idea and always remember the things in Excel for the benefits of doing, and always for checking your calculations. Now I'll be giving some extra videos. Those videos will not be included for the final exam. It's just only for, it's good practice for some student that they can use it for their own purposes. Thanks for listening.